If you are watching this, you are probably aware that real estate values have tanked, and moreover, mortgage interest rates are probably as low as they've been in either of our adult lifetimes. So I asked myself, if you combine the depressed values along with the historically low interest rates, exactly how much of a savings can a home buyer get from, let's say, exactly the same purchase from 5, 10, or 20 years ago? I recently did some research on 3 properties in Kane County, Illinois, to get a feel as to how the actual cost of ownership when compared to household income has changed from one sale to the next over a span of years. When I say cost of ownership, I mean just principal and interest, and have not included anything for real estate taxes, homeowners insurance, association dues, or private mortgage insurance. I calculated the monthly principal and interest payment, that's P&I, based on 100% financing with the then prevailing interest rate for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. Once I calculated the monthly payment, I figured out what percentage of a household's then income would go towards the principal and interest portion of housing expense. My final disclaimer is that I have no idea as to the condition of the properties either then or now, but you can imply from the data I have on at least one home that there was significant improvements done between one sale and another. More on that later. Anyway, the idea is that both home prices and mortgage interest rates affect the cost of ownership. After further consideration, you realize that one variable affects the other. In other words, with cheap money, a potential home purchaser might be able to afford more home, thereby driving prices up. If you are not old enough to remember, or too old to have forgotten, the early 80s had interest rates in the middle and high teens, in fact very high teens. I myself can personally attest to that, purchasing my first condo as a young attorney in 1983. Therefore, the price of housing can vary greatly upon both the value and the interest rate. So here goes. I've distilled the raw data down to 3 charts, each summarizing the actual cost of ownership measured over time as a percentage of the then average household income. Wow, now that's a mouthful. Bottom line, pick a year, take a household's income during that year, and figure out what percentage of that income went to mortgage payments. The vertical y-axis shows the percentage of household income going towards a mortgage payment, and the horizontal x-axis shows time in years. My results show percentages as high as 29% to a low of 4%. Quite a range. As you can see on this particular chart, I'm guessing that there was some rehab done to a property to reflect the increase in price, and that impacted the percent of household income. Anyway, my point is that any way you parse the data, home ownership is very cheap these days, and from a purely economic and investment point of view, real estate might be worth taking a look at. I don't know if I want to or can draw any conclusions from this analysis, but it does reflect actual numbers for actual homes. While there may be assumptions being made, the data is nevertheless eye-opening, and if you have watched this video up to this point, probably worthy of further consideration.